They don't react to us like they used to. Now we're just things that are happening in their environment, whereas before we were food.
And in a minute 30, they will get shifted onto that fresh patch of grass.
So much easier. It's our busiest time of season, really no more physical labour than it ever is any other time of the year.
Boom, and they're done. So they've left the milking shed, they've gone to that mob, and they've been guided straight into the right break.
But more importantly, farming's just really, really, really good fun.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing in the morning when I come into the calvers is I will have a walk around all the cows and then identify any new mums. What I'll do is I'll go into Halter and I'll identify a mother, and then I'll find a new mum, for example. I'll click on her and I'll pause her collar so then she can go off and eat some fresh grass, and then I'll also change her mob into the just calved. If the cow is calving, so say she's starting to calve, I'll change it into the point of calving mob so then we can monitor that cow closely. I'll also trigger the LED light so then I can see where all the mums are in the paddock nice and easily, and then I'll go into reproduction. And yeah, she was calved 13 hours ago, so that's another really useful tool, is being able to see exactly when they have calved, which is really cool.
This year we've had 5 down cows,
Yeah.
which is 1% calved, which is probably 15% better than it's ever been. Like, that would be not uncommon to have that in the morning in the past. And a part of it's weather, but a lot of it is just we're so pinpoint with our grazing management now that, and it's so easy to, every time you see them, give them a little bit of grass and check they're all eating, because that's the first sign that there's something wrong with an animal, even before your rumination stuff is changed, because if the drive to eat isn't there, that's all going to follow behind it. And because it's so quick to do it, you just do it. So we have 4 breaks a day this month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 rolling breaks a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And picking up the calves multiple times a day. So again, cows have got a massive focus on eating. Some people think that, you have Halter and then you don't see your cows as much, but it's totally the opposite, because they don't react to us like they used to. Now we're just things that are happening in their environment, whereas before we were food. So now any mob you can just walk through and they just let you. They're not worried about it at all. Whereas once upon a time they would just turn and chase you, and so you'd see the faces of them all, and that was about it. Yeah. Whereas now you'll find we can just walk through the mob and they're just not even interested.
Yeah. So 461 is in here. She's over there. I can see her. Big fat Jersey thing.
By the trailer.
And then 490. And she's just over there as well, next to her. So we can trigger their LEDs so we can get a better look at where they are, which is really cool. And we can go have a look at them. 490, she has been mothering like crazy. She's also been dripping milk. So I've just been trying to keep an eye on her, and she's been looking like she's been wanting to calve for the last 48 hours, but hasn't progressed at all. So just been wanting to keep a good close eye on her in case we do need to bring her in and potentially calve her. And then Halter's been really good as well, because we can look at the cow's rumination, her eating, her resting, her movement, and that's such a great tool to tell if they've calved or not if we can't physically, see it that well. There is a 490 here, and she still doesn't look like she's calved, but yeah, she's got her tail up in the air. She's not mothering anything, which is good, but hopefully she'll get on with it soon. And then this is 461 here. She's very large, but she's not due till I think the 4th of September. And that's another good thing of Halter, is we can see all the calving dates, and it's right there, so you can check. Yeah. When I come out and do my night checks, is I'll trigger all the LEDs, so then I'm not, having to always look at my phone, but I can just see them, and if they're on the other side of the paddock, and be like, oh yeah, she's over there, and I'll go check them. And what I do is with the pointer calvers mob and the calf mobbers, I'll have them different coloured LEDs. So the calf cows, I'll make them green because they've calved, and then I'll make the pointer calvers mob red because they haven't calved, and then that's just an easy way for me to identify them.
If you trigger the LED to say, yep, they'll be identified, every calf mum that's got a flashing light, instead of trying to read ear tags in the dark, incredibly beneficial. So much easier.
Yeah. And it looks cool at night time as well. Yeah, such a awesome. She's a heifer, but her udder's really swollen. She's super slab-sided. Her vulva looks like it's had a bit of trauma to it. But I'm not 100% sure, so I'll use Halter if she hasn't calved already. If she hasn't, I'll go onto Halter, and then I can check her stats. And so her resting went up, but she might have just been sleeping. But yeah, her eating went down and her rumination went up. Something that we find is if a cow's ruminating lots, like when she's calving, she could just be in pain, because we find that they grind their teeth when they're in pain. So that's another sign that she's potentially calved. So I'll put her down as a maybe, and then when we bring them into the shed later on, I'll get Corrigan, or I'll check her to see if she has calved.
And then the next thing we're going to do now that we've picked up all the calves is we're going to bring them on a active shift onto fresh grass. So they're all going to come onto fresh grass with no access to get off of it, and that way it gives us a really good opportunity to walk through them again and make sure they're all eating, and also just look through the mums again. So we'll unpause all the collars, so we'll bring everyone back home onto the fresh grass and we'll observe eating and all that sort of stuff. Just again, another key to make sure that we're following that health right the way through. This is the driver of the milking cow. So getting this part right makes every other job easy. So you don't end up with animal health problems. They start lactating well. Mastitis is less an issue in the cow shed. It's all driven by getting this part right, because this is the massive drive on the immunity and all that on the systems of the cow. And so if you can kind of make this as easy transition as possible, everything else is actually pretty smooth. Yeah.
So we've got our calvers here, well, Springer mob, and we've just picked up all of the calves, so we're going to shift them onto a fresh break of grass now. So they're getting 35 to 40 squares a day of grass, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on the paddock and it will highlight it for me, and I have the option here to drop the brake or to add brake. So I'm going to add brake. Brake will be for today. Next, I'm going to allocate all these cows, because these are all the cows that are in this paddock at the moment. Assign 5 mobs, draw new, so I can apply a previous brake, which would be any brake that has previously been drawn in this brake, or I can draw a fresh one. So I want to draw a new one, and so because they're only going to be on this brake for about an hour and a half, I'm not going to include the water trough. So I'm just going to start drawing the brake from where their last brake finished. So we'll go all the way down here, and then I'm gonna with Halter it's great because you can draw brakes however you want. So I'll give them about 15 squares, and so that's that brake there, and that's the brake that the cows will get shifted onto. Save, and then I can then drop the brake that they're currently in, shift to next brake, assign all mobs, and then they will get shifted onto that fresh patch of grass and Halter drop. And in a minute 30 they will get shifted onto that fresh patch of grass.
So like it wasn't like they had to learn. And so it left me going, well, how much R&D has gone into this when every single cow responds exactly the same way? You know, like it was just bang, they just did exactly what you expected them to, and like willingly, not like they're upset about it at all. Just like, oh, yeah, that's where the feed is, and off they went. Just well, you can't be everywhere at once, So as farms get bigger and margins get smaller, you end up with more facets of your job to spread. And I think that it's fair. You could come and do all this with reels, and I was saying to Eleanor that we used to. But I also used to do 40 or 50,000 paces a day, and I'd try and do that for 3 months and then get into 3 months of mating and just be blown to bits by Christmas time. And now this is just another day. So it's our busiest time of season with 10 mobs at the moment, maybe more. And it's really no more physical labour than it ever is any other time of the year. So good at looking after the cows, good at looking after people, and guaranteed results.
We're going to go change some tapes up the end of the laneway here because we've got 2 mobs of cows going up the same laneway, so we're going to change it for the other mob to go to their paddock. But with Halter, we don't have to push the cows up the laneway because now you can set a shift from the cow shed to the paddock that your cows are going to, and it will push them down to their paddock, which is great in the summer when cows are hot and they get stubborn and don't want to leave the shed. And it's also good with colostrum cows because often colostrum cows will come back down the laneway looking for their calves, and it just ensures that you're not sitting behind cows anymore, which is awesome. So we'll just push these guys up and change the tapes. So they're all as colostrums at the moment, but these guys are going to go into the clean milkers mob. And so once they are all in the clean milkers break, then we can change what mob they are in. So once they're all in the paddock, they'll show up in the paddock, and then you can highlight them all and change them from a colostrum cow to a clean milker cow. Our cows don't like walking under the underpass in summer, so they all just like queue up there and just stand there and wait. And like they came out with it, when did it come out? Like March? Yeah. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Because I was talking to Sam, like, how cool would it be if they came out with a feature where you could shift cows from the milking shed back to their paddock, and then next thing you know, it's there, and we're just like, oh my god, this is so cool. It's just awesome.
You know, farming's biological system, that's 365. You know, you're doing things all the time with an end in mind. It can be 12, 18 months away. Like rearing our heifers right now to target live weight's going to set them up for, you know, good and calf rate at their first mating, which is going to get them calving early as a 2-year-old, which is going to set them up for the rest of their life. So there's all those little things. We know that breeding's not heat detection. It's a really important and critical part of it, but it's, you know, the cow's got to be cycling in the first place. So it's all those things that you do to get cows into the right sort of window, I suppose, to be cycling, because we want to have these cows cycling and having really good heats pre-mating. So their first heat, which is going to occur in that first 21 days, is like their second or third or fourth heat, right? Because that's a really fertile heat. And then that'll drive 6-week in calf rate. That drives milk production, that drives profitability. That keeps really good quality cows and herds for, 10 years. And that all adds up. Yeah. Like Jorja is a very she's very passionate about animals, and she's got quite a developed skill set for someone who's only been in the sector for a couple of years. So she's largely doing our maternity ward, so to speak, just carving and doing a stellar job of it, and picking up things that one, because she's passionate, but two, because she's got other forms of information to check herself again. So she's using the collars, she's using eating time, rumination, lying time, resting, moving, all of these things alongside moving cows for different mobs and stuff. All of those are giving her confidence around, picking mums that are about to calve, seeing through a successful birthing, seeing a cow rebound on the other side of that, calving, etc. So to me, that's very cool. I'm thoroughly enjoying kind of watching her grow. Yeah.
Well, I personally think it allows us to attract really good people. We want the best of the best in our farming business, and I think it seems to be technology in all industries is attracting the best and the brightest. And so, yeah, we want to be on that train too. We've got a very complex business, and we benefit from really smart people. And so, you've got to get where they want to be. Well, the transfer of information is so seamless with Halter. So there's nothing, but it prompts her to ask good questions, because she can see things happening in front of her that might not have been visible if you didn't have Halter. It's all of the background information that we use to make decisions is also available to her. So again, the questions that she asks are very informed already. But it's just really engaging. The thing with the Halter too, with the questions that she asks about those things, or the things that she's seeing, they're not subjective. Like we can all see the same information, so we all make decisions based on the same information. Which I think that's a powerful tool for actually forming those skill sets, because essentially you're not just guessing, and it's not just I think this. It's I can see this, and this is what I'm seeing on the ground because of it, cause and effect. And so it just makes that learning process really direct, I guess, from hey, this is what I'm seeing to hey, this is the result, and we all saw the same thing.
So I'll just show you, Ellen, how we are using Halter desktop. So where I find Halter desktop really handy at this time of the year is that all animals, it's just running reports, right? The things that I'm using most at the moment, I'm sorting cows at the moment around short gestation length semen, and making sure that those cows, because the thing about this technology is cows are calving early. So it's designed for cows to calve 14 days earlier than normal. And what ends up happening is they'll calve at the same time as you're getting your replacements in, and then you end up with the wrong, keeping the wrong calves, keeping the wrong heifers. So that's just something I've been using. I know that cows calving after the 27th of August will have been short gestation length. So that was just a report I was using the other day. But the ones I'm particularly using a lot of at the moment are sorting cows that are on once a day. They've gone through the colostrum mob, they're cycling well, they're ruminating well rather, and I'm trying to give cows about 10 days on once a day milking before they go to twice a day. So
what are the different filters that you've got?
So I've got filtering out of one herd, which happens to be the clean once a day herd. I'm looking at rumination times greater than 450 minutes. Grazing minutes greater than 375, and we had some light cows calve this spring due to the difficult winter we had, so our body condition scored the herd already, and cows as they calve, and I'm just making any light cow on this farm below 4, because it makes it super easy for me to run a filter on it, and any cow that's greater than 4.5 is going to twice a day, and any 4s are staying on once a day until I see them cycling. So those are my filters, and then days since calving is greater than 9. But if we made this 8, that will show me the cows tomorrow. So there's 10 cows that will come out of the once a days tomorrow, go to the twice a days. So that's just a simple example of using the desktop, and the team are doing this, not just me, in real time in the cow shed every morning, and then I'm just loading the draft straight into ProTrack off there. What the desktop maybe doesn't allow you to do is get that granularity around the health that the app does. So I'm particularly interested to know the trends, whereas your desktop's not really giving you a picture of trends, but I'm looking at that cow and looking at how her grazing's coming up. And her rumination has come back a bit, but that's because in the colostrum mobs they're on some pretty fibrous hay. But she's a cow that I'm not quite sure yet whether I'm going to clear her or not. She's 8, I'll probably even just be interested to know, did she have any calving difficulty or anything like that as well? Yeah, just as part of that decision making. So that's a good sort of example of how we use the desktop every day, all the time at the moment. Like if I go back to the once a day's sort mob for tomorrow, I know I'm going to draft these cows and I can just reassign them straight to cleans twice a day, boom, and they're done. So they've left the milking shed, they've gone to that mob and they've been guided straight into the right break and they've joined the right mob.
So these are the springers, and we've just brought them in because we are going to do a bit of a sort out. We're going to draft out all the new mums that we identified this morning when we picked calves up, and then we're also going to draft out any non-replacement animals and any cows that are in calf to Charolais. And so then we're just going to have a replacement mob which we can keep a good eye on, and then we're also going to have a non-replacement mob which we'll also keep a good eye on. So then we don't get any non-replacements mixed up with our replacements. Yeah.
That would be cool. So we find with larger mobs on our farm, it's easy to do most of our drafting through ProTrack because it takes all the stress out of it and makes it largely a one-person task. So I'm just running dry cows today down the exit race, drafting out a couple of empties. A couple of cows that calved in this mob have come out already. Kind of just using Halter really as a reference point for that. While we're milking in the shed though, we tend to have Halter kind of sitting here because I can be jumping into health and looking at cows as we go. We tend to do a lot of that, so it just becomes our go-to.
Yeah, our personal goals are to make sure that we're a good caretaker of this land through our tenure of it. I don't see it so much as an asset as just a lifestyle. It's got to generate an income to support all our families, but ultimately just want to see it get better and better.
Alongside, caring for the land is caring for the animal and caring for the people. And Halter's certainly been beneficial for us in that we'd had another wearable prior to Halter that gave us the confidence in wearables, and Halter's really taken the animal wellbeing thing to another level, and now we're starting to see it in terms of people because we're achieving better rosters and better working hours, but more importantly farming's just really, really, really good fun.
Yeah,